Hey everyone, welcome to the show.
Hello, Kat.
How are you?
I am doing well. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Yeah?
Yeah, today's a good day.
Today is a good day. I'm super excited.
I am too. We've got another special guest on today, which we both have been really excited about for a while now.
Yes, most definitely. Because we love their watches. That's the big thing.
Yeah, and if you've been listening to the show, I think we've done several wristwatch checks with these Orises on that we've gotten in from Oris. I have the Big Crown Pointer Date, and you have is it the mint green?
The mint dial. Yeah, the mint green Aquas.
Yeah, so cool.
Yep. And today we have Oris with us.
We have Oris as a whole.
All of them. We've got all of it. No, we have VJ, who is the U.S. head of Oris here. So if you want to say hi, VJ.
Hello, everyone. Hello, ladies. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for listening to our show. That was the most if you guys knew like how much Kat and I nerd out over stuff, like getting a DM from you one day out of the blue was possibly one of the highlights of our DMs lately. It was amazing. And it was literally, I think, the day before we put out the episode talking about the Oris ski trip and all of that stuff. So.
Well, thank you. I feel flattered.
Yeah.
I feel flattered that made your day.
It did. It definitely did.
No, we were very much like 12-year-old schoolgirls jumping up and down. And, we said this before, but we send screenshots to each other if one of us misses a DM or anything like that. And yeah, it was great. It was exciting. And we're so glad to have you on the show today.
Well, thank you. Thank you again for having me. It's great to be here. You guys are doing great things and certainly, want to be a part, want to help you and join in and talk about watches.
Absolutely.
And whatever else comes up on this coronavirus day today here on a Friday.
Yeah. Life in general,
Exactly.
Life in general, for sure. Well, I guess maybe before we get too into it, let's just go ahead and knock out a wristwatch check because we'll forget about it, honestly.
Yeah.
And we just won't get around to it. So, BJ, what's on your wrist today?
I am wearing the new Pro Pilot 41 millimeter on a green Ventile strap with the black dial. So it's a new upgrade to the Pro Pilot collection. And I've been wearing it for quite a while. I really like it. It's the Ventile strap is kind of a water resistant fabric. So it's really cool. It's like a khaki green color. And
ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's really nice. And the dial is nice and legible. So I can actually read it. I don't have to, squint to see it, that kind of thing.
All very important features.
Exactly.
Very, very important features. Yeah, and then Kat, I'm assuming you are wearing the Pointer Date.
I am. Like, what else would I be wearing right now?
I was like, I hope the answer is yes, and she's not wearing the Rolex or something else.
No, I do. I have the Big Crown Pointer Date, and that is the 40 millimeter in the very light blue dial, which I love, by the way. And I've got it on a Bark and Jack strap. Shout out Adrian.
Nice.
Yeah, that light brown tan. I guess it's more of a tan strap, but it really makes the blue pop, and I really like this combo. So I've been wearing it on this for a couple weeks now. Until it gets too hot and sweaty here, then I'll take it off the leather. But yeah, I really like this watch a lot. It wears great, and the date complication, which is probably my favorite thing about it, is just really cool. It's almost like having a GMT hand, which I'm a big fan of, but it's the date, which is honestly more convenient for me to have, especially these days at home when all the days get mixed up.
True, very true.
What about you, Catlin? What are you wearing?
The Aquas.
The Oris.
This episode unofficially sponsored by Oris. I have the Aquas. It's it's so funny because this is a watch that I gushed over when it was released last year at Basel. And I think there's only the one AD here in town in Nashville. And I went by there all the time just to see if it was there. And it just never was. So finally, when they got it in, I had to go see it. And then now, like, having it on the wrist, I mean, it's everything that I was hoping it would be. And I'm not a fan of green. Awesome. Everybody keeps calling me out on the fact that I'm wearing a green doll watch. And I'm very public about the fact that I hate green. But it's not really green. Mint is...
It's green.
It's
green.
Cat, it is
it's
not
shade
green.
Of green.
It's not green. So...
it's a really cool design. That, like the way the dial is and the way it's just the way it fades is really, really nice. It's really really
it's beautiful. It's very well done. It's something that I really kind of wasn't expecting from Oris, honestly, because I've been very Goldilocks and the Three Bears about the Aquas collection for a long time. Like, I loved the blue dial Aquas, but it was either the 44 millimeter, which just looked ridiculously big on my wrist, or is it a 36 millimeter that it was in? I think so.
Yeah, there's a 36, and then the 43 and a half, and then the new, and that one's 39 and a half, which is
perfect, because the 36 was just way too small. And I mean, that salesperson kept trying to just lean me towards it, but for everything that I'm used to, I mean, I was taking off my big 42 millimeter Planet Ocean and then putting on this 36 millimeter Aquas. It just wasn't for me. So when this came out in the 39 millimeter, this was everything. So, and it still is. I crush on it too much.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think 39 millimeter for a dive watch, that's a sweet spot for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you too, Catlin. I think that size is a winner, especially for dive watches.
Yeah, and I saw that Oris is putting out more sizes in the Aquas, right? Like, you guys have the 41 millimeter now?
Yeah, the 41 and a half just came out. So
nice.
That's coming out. Yeah, and that's been, and I think to your point, some people say the 43 and a half is too big, and then the 39 came in the spot. But some people even say that watch is a little small for them. So the 41 and a half seems to be, let's see how that one fits, but that seems to be a really perfect size. But even so, even when people wear them, like I've heard countless times about the 43 and a half, it doesn't wear a 43 and a half. It feels a little smaller the way it sits on wrist and that sort of thing. But we're excited about the 41. It seems to be getting, some good attention, and I think people will really like it.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be an Aquas for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there really is. When you look on the website, I was just on the website earlier today, there's so many options and dial colors and complications in the Aquas. And I mean, you really can. There's something there for everybody, which I love. I know a lot of people prefer brands with smaller collections, but honestly, I like the variety. I like that, if I want something, I can find something that I like, and I don't feel like I have to settle for something that, I almost love, but not really. I wish this was different. Oris kills it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The designs are unique and functional, and as you said, there is something that you can find, and whether that's dive, whether that's aviation, or just a straight sort of classic watch, we have something for everybody. And I think that's kind of the whole philosophy of the company, was to kind of bring a good mechanical watch to a large amount of people, have something that, a watch for sort of the masses, so to say, or, for the everyman kind of thing, or every woman kind of thing. So that certainly was the philosophy and what we still adhere to today.
Well, VJ, I know a question that we may both have is, how long have you been with Oris? When did you start with them?
I started with Oris. I've had the privilege of being the CEO of Oris for about the past 10 years. So I started in September of 2010. So what had happened was, I've been in the industry a long time, about 27 years now, coming up this year. My career with Oris started, Oris, for those of you who don't know, was with a distribution company. So it wasn't like a subsidiary of the Swiss parent company. It was a distributor that had it for a very long time. So in 2010, the Swiss organization decided that they'd like to set up their own subsidiary. They hired me, and we set up our whole Oris Watches USA organization. And that's how I came into it at that time. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, very cool.
Yeah. Well, so
I did not know that.
Yeah, I had no idea. But I guess before we kind of get too much into Oris, what about like you've been in the industry for a long time. How did you get into watches?
Sort of serendipitously. I was working my first job out of college. I worked for a company that did I have a finance background, so I was an accountant, and I worked for a company that did prescription mail order pharmacy. And a gentleman that I was working with at that company at the time left to go work for a watch company, which was North American Watch Company, which was the predecessor company to the Movado Group at the time. And, I knew him well, and he had an open position. He's like, do you want to come work? So that's how I got into the watch industry. I started my career as a financial analyst at Movado Group that many years ago. And then that company went public, and I was almost there. I was there for almost 10 years. And then I worked for Victorinox for a few years. And then, and then I worked for a company called LGI. If you're familiar with the LGI network, they did all like the market research statistics in the watch industry. So I was there for close to 6 years. And then with Oris, not too many, just not bouncing around a lot, but a few companies, a lot of varied experience, and then came to Oris.
Were you into watches before you started working in watches?
To be honest, no, not really.
Fair enough.
I had a watch as a kid. My first recollection of a watch, I had like one of those Casio or Armatron. I want to say maybe it was an Armatron. It was like a digital, it had like the digital buttons on it, like one of those big square ones. I think I got it for my confirmation, I remember, at the time. And then I didn't wear a watch, and then I had my dad always had a watch. He always wore a watch. Nothing fancy. It was like a Timex with one of those spiral bands on it. That was like a stretchy band. So he had that for many. Like he always wore a watch. But and then I didn't wear a watch for a while. I didn't really wear a watch in college, and then when I got into the watch industry, I started wearing watches again. So I had my share of those. But that's really kind of what brought my and I've honed my love for watches over the time. But certainly, I can't say like I was like a watch lover and I'm coming to work in the watch industry because I love watches. I mean, I love the idea of the product, and I loved what it was about. I just didn't, I wasn't a fanatic watch person.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, everybody has their own story. Is there any pieces that you have in your collection that stand out to you as being favorites that are maybe non-Oris watches?
I have some watches that were like some interesting ones. I have a Movado, and again, just pieces places I've worked. I've always, I can't say I've gone out and purchased anything at places I wasn't from, or I wasn't. So, I mean, I have a Concord, I have a Movado, I have an ESQ, I have a Coach watch, I have and then I have a bunch of Swiss Army watches, which I enjoy. But then, the rest of my collection is Oris. So and those are probably the most sentimental to me, just because, as with anybody, right, a watch kind of signifies points in your life or things that products that, some that I've purchased on my own from Oris that I really, feel attached to, like whether that's a Carbashir, one of the Red Bar limited editions I have for myself, because that was a project that was very near and dear to me and worked on. So, things like that in my collection.
Oh, that's really cool. I love hearing stories when, people buy, watches for a special event in their lives, whether it's an anniversary or, the birth of a kid, something like that. I always enjoyed, because we've joked about this on the show. I don't have any pieces that are sentimental to me, and I just buy watches. So hopefully that'll change at some point in the future and give me an excuse to buy another watch. But no, I do love that a lot.
Yeah. And I laugh because I have different things. Like I wear one of our ProPilot 111s, which has the 10-day power reserve on it. And that watch reminds me of my daughter, because she always likes to wind it for 10 days, like spend time and winding the watch, that kind of thing. So just different things. That's that adorable. You kind of you remember and you associate with. So I think then,
Yeah, and then she's going to remember that growing up. She's going to have that memory too. I certainly remember my dad wearing a watch and exactly what he wore as you did yours. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I think no doubt about it. Like I think about that, and I think about and she knows more about watches now than I ever did when I was a kid, right? Because obviously, it's the family business, so to say. But she's very much into, she talks about it. She likes when the watch glows in the dark, the lume on the watch, all those things.
Oh,
so it's
so
pretty cool.
Does she have a watch that she wears?
She does not yet. So
Dad.
I know. No, I shouldn't say that. She has a watch, but it's not anything it's not like an Oris or something like that. She has she wears it occasionally, but in terms of her favorite color is blue. So she really likes like a blue face watch. So at some point that will be on her, that will be one of those will be hers. No doubt about it.
Oh,
that's cute.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, we're like oohing and awing over here. Like,
I know. I'm such a daddy.
I wish my dad would have bought me a watch.
Right. For real. But like all the dad-daughter stories, they just get me every time.
I know. Me too.
Like,
it's super sweet.
I know. Oh man. Well, so let's chat about Oris, because that's why you're here. Yeah, so let's chat a little bit more about Oris, just kind of in general and their history. So I know like their US locations and all are relatively new then. You said about 10 years old.
Yeah, I mean, the Oris has been in the country a long time in terms of the brand itself, but as far as our organization, Oris has been in the US for a very long amount of time. So it just with our organization, but as far as like what's happening with us, we've certainly had a nice growth period, as you can imagine, over the past number of years. Especially as sort of the watch enthusiast community has grown, and kind of our kind of presence and our love has always been strong in that community. And I mean, it's really a combination of things between good product introductions, social media, advertising, things like that. But the brand has been doing very well.
Yeah, and VJ, you guys are still an independent brand, correct?
We are. So we're one of the last sort of, I'll say, mainstream independent manufacturers in Switzerland, right? We only make mechanical watches, as you guys know. That's all we do. So we don't make any quartz or anything like that. And we've been in business since 1904. So we have a very long history. Same factory in Holstein, which is in the Basel corner of Switzerland. So yeah, there's a long history to the brand, and it was always kind of that sleeper brand that people knew if you knew watches, but the general person may not know it, or that sort of thing. So we've been working on that over time, and I think as time has progressed, we've certainly it's definitely grown, and more people know the brand, and people are inquiring, especially people new to the watch industry and new to kind of watch collecting and that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that initially when I think Wind Up started, I remember seeing Oris on the name of, the list of brands that were going to be there. And I was like, Oris, man, they're a major brand. Like, and then I started reading, and I didn't know that y'all were an independent brand. So that was certainly surprising to me at the time. But yeah, I think here in Nashville, we're by no means a big watch town, but if you go into some of our jewelers, the Oris brand is there. So it is more available now, I think, to the non-watch community for sure.
Yeah, and it's been it's been over the time that I've been with the brand, we've certainly had our challenges like everybody else, right? Like especially in the early days, and just kind of building things up and getting people, and it just the watch business can be a tough business from a different perspectives. But I think if we've always stayed true to who we are. We've tried not to do, we've always tried to do the right thing with the brand, and kind of keep our reputation and do the right thing by people. And I think that certainly has come across, and that certainly has helped us a lot in what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we were talking about earlier the Red Bar collaboration that you guys did. How did that start up?
Yeah, so our relationship with Red Bar started much out of just they are watch lovers, and they loved Oris, and as far as like you always gravitate towards people you get along with and kind of have things in common with, and we just hit it off with those guys in terms of just being easygoing, approachable, that sort of thing. That's very much our philosophy too, and the way we conduct, not even a philosophy, but much about how we conduct ourselves, just the people that we are. So naturally gravitated to each other. And I think, as they sort of have grown, we were with them and basically did their, we always did some things. And, with Red Bar, it was one of those things where, they started in New York, and they had a good following in New York. And then gradually, and, more gradually in the beginning, they started doing these events in other places. And, we always looked at it as people like to see the product. And it was more about just going and seeing other watch enthusiasts and sharing what we had with them and that sort of thing. And I always thought it was proper to do it in the New York area, where people were, but always do it in the other areas,
Yeah.
the smaller places, so we had done Red Bar things in, Atlanta, Miami, places like Minneapolis and Birmingham, Alabama, and the
Wow.
large and small communities. And I think that was, that certainly has been good. So the relationship was very strong with that community. We always try to be accessible, and they're always great to us. So the collaboration with the watch was when they had their first sort of national meetup a couple of years back at Couture. We wanted to do something to sort of like as a milestone for them, and an achievement and a thank you. And that's why we came up with that watch. And when we did it as part of a lot of the proceeds of the watch went to charity. We made a large donation to the Red Bar Fund from that watch. So it was a good overall project, and it was really really nice, and really something proud to work on.
That's really cool. Now, was it a limited edition, or did you make as many as people wanted at that point?
No, it was a limited run. It was a 40 millimeter Diver 65 with a bronze top ring and a red dial. So it's a really
I have
you've seen the piece. So I have one in my collection. So it's a really nice piece, and it's always it's nice to see them out in public and people with them too. And you see a lot of them, so it's good. It was a 100-piece limited edition.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
I bet those went really fast.
Yeah.
I was like, Red Bar, the community is huge, and I was just thinking, how much it has grown.
Yeah.
We were, before me and Catlin kind of joined in the ranks of the Nashville Watch Club, we were thinking about doing a Red Bar here, but I think we've got a good thing going now for the time being. But Oris is invited here anytime.
We'll be there. I promise we'll be there.
Throwing that out there.
Throwing everything out there.
When we can be there, we'll be there. We'll be there with you guys.
Well, and I think that's one of the really cool things about you guys being independent is how involved you are with local watch communities and partnerships like Red Bar, and partnerships with like the Wind Up Watch Fair and things like that. That's something that you don't see from a lot of major brands. I mean, even your involvement with social media, and Kat and I, we've talked about this probably till we were blue in the face about how checked out most major brands are from like the realities of watch enthusiasts.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically counting on the fact that they could sell watches to anybody who just kind of walks up because they know the name. In Oris, even though people know the name, people not even in this community of enthusiasts know the Oris name, but you guys still really make an effort to be involved with watch enthusiasts. And I think that really speaks volumes on your business, on your kind of like your mindset and the way that you guys operate. But then obviously, I mean, it's paid off, and it works for you guys, because I know every time we post the Orises on, the 10 and 2 page or anywhere else, like the amount of feedback that we get is phenomenal. People see Oris, they recognize Oris, and you guys y'all do so well at being involved within the community. And that's definitely, I absolutely love that about you guys, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. No, and I mean, it goes both ways, right? Yes, I mean, certainly, we like to be actively involved in the community, because it's let's face it, it's where we operate, right? It's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And why wouldn't you do that? And I say, when you see brands that don't, it's like, well, these are the people that like your product. These are the people that want to, buy your product. Like, the feedback that comes, what people say, like, it's very important to who you are, and you want to, we always listen to feedback, product feedback. The best feedback comes from the watch community about the product and how to make it better, what they like, what they don't like, that sort of thing. I mean, certainly it's something that we love to do it. And it's also, you think about, when you think about, job satisfaction or performance review, right? Like when you walk out and you have something that's really cool, like it feels good because people really like it, and you're bringing something out that, makes people happy. And I think that's important. And that's really what we do, right? I mean, watches are things that make people happy, that, it's not anything anybody really needs, right? But it's something that people want and make them smile and celebrate milestones and that sort of thing. So,
Yeah. We tell ourselves we need it.
I need a day-date watch. I don't know what day of the week it is at all. That's a necessity.
That's your excuse.
Whatever. However, I need to justify this watch purchase.
It's fine.
So don't come at me.
We make a number of day dates. Don't worry.
See, look at always selling. All right.
No.
VJ's gonna send me links to every day date watch they make. I'm like, oh, well, there goes all of that money. So okay.
No, but you love it, right? Like you love them, and it's important to. It's nice to have that. It's nice to have that appreciation for it. You're passionate about it, and I think that's really what makes it, right? I mean, but getting back to the community and you guys and everything you're doing, I mean, I think it's great, kind of the way you're bringing things out, the way you're talking about things, the way you're making it easy, accessible, very, just very interesting. I mean, I think that's important, and to show that watch collecting and it is for everybody, right? It's not just for one group of people, It's for everybody. And I think that's the nature of it. And I think that's why, and it's the people it's the watches themselves, and it's the people you meet that make this community, as we all know, right? So
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think it says a lot too. I mean, you guys getting involved with the Wind Up Watch Fair. How did that come about?
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking about it with the guys from Worn and Wound, and when they think back, 5, 6, 7 years ago now, maybe even, I'm trying to think, dating myself as to when the actual date was, but the first time they came to Basel, like, they couldn't get Basel appointments. Like, people wouldn't see them, right? Like, brands wouldn't see people like that. And we always just were, yeah, you want to come? Sure, we'll show you. Like, and that's the kind of thing I think that it has helped us in terms of how it went about, but it wasn't intentional to do that. It was just more like, hey, we're happy to show you what we have. Like, you want to see it, we're happy to show it to you. And I think we always had an open approach to those guys. I think, Blake and Zach, James, I mean, they're great people too. It's nice to work with people like that. And you always like to see good people succeed, right? So you always, I feel that way. I feel like, you're loyal to people that have been loyal to you and helped you. And I think that's really, what it is. Like, it's working together. It's seeing their business and, the way they've gone about it and the way they've done things. It's certainly, a great thing for them. I mean, are we are we one of those brands that's the largest brand at it? Yeah, but don't mind that at all. I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to be there and lend them support and do it. And it's a great experience. People come, they see product. It's a one of a kind event. And I think they've done an excellent job with Wind Up and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. And a big difference there is that, yes, at Basel, you get all the media outlets there, but at Wind Up, you get the people, you get the community. And that's not something that you necessarily get at Basel, other than, the publications that come out of it. But you get that face-to-face interaction, and big shout out to the Worn and Wound guys, because they have supported us from the beginning as well. Yeah. We've been big fans of them, and we got to meet Ilya last year, and he was great. Yep. But we're big fans of the group, and we were hoping to make it out to Wind Up.
San Francisco, yeah.
Well, and I think we were planning on doing the Chicago one, which I don't know. It still might be on at this point. I haven't really talked to them much, but we would have loved to go out to San Francisco again too, and unfortunately that didn't happen. But it is what it is, and I'm sure they're going to pick right back up, and they'll party it up later this year, I'm sure.
They will, yeah. You guys should come to New York.
Yeah.
Everybody keeps saying that.
That's in the fall, so that might be a good time.
That might be the way we go.
Well, it turns out to be like it's such a good watch weekend, right? With Worn and Wound has the Wind Up, Watch Time has their thing, so it's always for for the watch community, it's a nice weekend. People come and they get a nice time in New York, and then they get to spend time there and see new product and things, so it's always a good time.
Yeah. Catlin, let's do it. Yeah.
Are we committing? Wait, what weekend?
We're committing.
Well, so we were gonna go last year. We talked about it, but it was Tyler's birthday weekend. So
yeah,
that's hard.
Yeah, we have plenty of time.
Plenty of time, kid. I need you to cancel your birthday. We're gonna move this around my schedule. So
just bring them along. Yeah, bring them with. Yeah.
Oh man! And then when everybody wants to go out, I'll be like, "No, guys, sorry, I'm in mom mode."
Oh man.
Good times.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, so one of the other big thing that I think Kat and I have always we've been big fans of Oris for a while. Oris is one of few brands, that really killed it last year as far as Basel and watch releases and things like that. But we also love that you guys are so big into environmental causes and just causes in general. I think it's easy to kind of get wrapped up in this idea of like luxury life and these things that are not necessities, that cost a bit more, and not really think about kind of outside of that. But you have so much involvement with various environmental issues. I mean, you guys have put out so many different limited edition watches where proceeds of them go to different issues. How did that come about?
Yeah, we started basically in 2009 with our environmental ocean conservation pieces. So we've always done this. We've been doing this series for a long time. It started with the Great Barrier Reef, the first one. And that was a piece that, we worked with the Australian Marine Conservation Society at the time, and just kind of came about because, the way we look at it is that, we obviously we sell watches, we sell a lot of dive watches. Like it's something that's been good to the company in terms of that. So, as far as the way we act and being environmentally friendly, I mean, it's just it's the right thing to do. And I think it just came about because of that. And, I know like of recent years, like that sort of stuff has become very popular, very in from a marketing perspective and the way to do things. But, we've been doing that for a long time. And I think it's the ability to we like to find these smaller organizations that need help, right? That you have these very large environmental organizations that are doing good things, but they're very large, and it's, how much are you really going to help them? Whereas something like these smaller things that they don't have a lot of exposure, or they need exposure. And, we always try to find those organizations that do that. So we've had this series of watches over time that have been for those, whether it's the Australian Marine Conservation, whether it's the Coral Restoration Foundation, Pacific Garbage Screening, like the list goes on in terms of the number of them. But we've been doing a long time, so it's been part of who we are as a company too, like the way we act and what we try to do. And in addition to the watches, it's about the packaging, it's about bringing things that make sense and make us good sort of world citizens. I think is the way that we kind of approach it.
Right, because I've heard the packaging is very minimal. Unlike a lot of brands who do absolutely excessive over the top boxes and things like that. I've heard that your packaging is very environmentally friendly.
Yeah, so we've over the past few years have switched to we went from plastic boxes to cotton boxes. We've in the past year or so switched over to leather pouches as opposed to big boxes and that sort of thing. So just trying to make things smaller, get rid of as much as we can in terms of waste and that sort of thing. And that's one of the things that we've certainly taken initiative on. And then also like even like the Clean Ocean came in an environmentally friendly algae box that's made of 30% algae. So just things like that. I mean, are we perfect? No, but just trying to get there and keep striving towards change for the better type of thing. So that's the way we look at it.
No, I think we both love that. I mean, I think we both have several watch boxes sitting in our house right now that are enormous and take up lots of space. So we appreciate those things, and we've both said boxes are not important to us. You take the watch out and then you put it under your bed. You don't even think about it. We were able to have it was the Movember Cronoris that was sent to us from Spanish Rob, and he was sending that around to different media outlets and people, and we got a chance to hang out with it, and we loved the watch roll that came with that. And I think that's such a practical idea. You had this cardboard box, small, but then you got a watch roll that you could take with you, and it was really, really good quality too. And I think we were both really impressed by that.
Yeah, thanks. That was a good piece. And we've been trying. We've had several in that sort of packaging with that watch roll. A couple others like that, but it's very much along those lines, trying to make things useful. The big crowns, the one you're wearing is coming in a leather pouch now, as sort of that acts as like a travel kit for your watch. Has a polishing cloth with it. That's a map of Switzerland, like that sort of stuff. So it's a cool trying to do things like that. So everything that you get is useful and not just put away like that. Yeah. But that watch, that was a good story. Rob won that watch at the event we did with Watchinista that night. So yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, I think, his motive was to gain some awareness of the watch itself, and he sent it out and let people just take pictures with it and hang out with it for a little bit. Yeah. And it kind of spread around the watch community, which was really cool. I've only seen that done a couple of times, but yeah, we loved our time with it. It was actually a really cool watch.
It was way more cool than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I actually forgot. I almost forgot about that one. But yeah, it was really vintage inspired, and if you look at some of the previous Oris releases from, I think it was like 70s or 80s. Yep. I'm not sure. But yeah, we enjoyed that one a lot. That was really cool.
Yeah, the Chronoris was the first. The Chrono was the first chrono that we made. That one happened to be the date version, but the first chronograph we made was the Chronoris in 1970. So that was what it was modeled.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that actually.
Yeah,
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Look at us learning things. Okay.
So, and that watch was from Movember. So we've worked with them. If you guys are familiar with the Movember organization, it's health charity. So we've worked with them the past 3 years. So that's actually the third Movember limited edition we did.
Yeah.
So there was that one. There was a pointer date, and then there was also a Diver 65. The first one was a Diver 65. So yeah, it's a good organization, and we raised some good money for them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just you guys are just stepping it up, and what you're doing with the environmental conservation stuff along with the Movember stuff. I think that's really great. I know a watch that we probably spent a good episode talking about was the Carey's Fort Reef, the limited edition that you guys came out with this year.
Yep.
That was this year, right?
That was in January.
I'm lost to where we are.
Right.
Seems like 10 years ago.
It's all a blur.
Yes.
But that was a solid gold, correct?
It was. That's a 50-piece limited edition that we've created. And really the idea around that was we've worked with the Coral Restoration Foundation since 2014. We worked with them prior on, we had done this program called Sea Heroes through one of our advertising partnerships with Scuba Diving Magazine. We ran a program from 2011 up to 2017 called Sea Heroes, and it would basically pick someone who did something really good for the environment, for the ocean environment, and there'd be 5 each year. We'd have a Sea Hero of the month, and then at the end we'd give them a watch. They got an Aquas, and then at the end of the year we picked the Sea Hero of the year, and we gave them a monetary grant to continue their work. So
very cool.
Yeah, it was a great program. Got to meet a lot of interesting people, a lot of different causes and things, and so Ken Niedermeyer, the guy who actually founded the Coral Restoration Foundation, he was our Sea Hero of the Year in 2014. So that's how we first came to the organization. And then in 2017, we made the first watch for them, the Staghorn. That was around that organization, and so we made that watch. We did a trip down there with a lot of people, and we went on the boat, and we actually dove into the water and saw how they did all the coral restoration and stuff. It was a really good experience for all involved. It was a press trip we had done. But anyway, but the first pieces of that watch at the time, the Coral Restoration Foundation has a gala, and the money from the first 2 pieces, they raised about $26,000, I believe, for those watches at the time, had garnered that much money. So we were speaking to them about doing a second version. So we wanted to make something that was very auctionable or something like that. So that's how the idea for the solid gold came up. And so we've donated 3 of those pieces to them for their organization, for their charitable causes and the way that they're auctioning them and that sort of thing. So that's how the gold came about. So, but there's going to be a steel version of that watch as well. So.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We're both not super gold people, but I think you like this watch a lot too, Catlin, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it worked, and it's not too much. It's like not in your face. The rubber strap on it went really well, and the colors, the blue and the black, just really played off of the gold really, really well. Yeah, we love that piece a lot. And I think you guys, you said you auctioned off a couple of them, right?
Yeah, so there were three that were given to them. They auctioned the first one off, and I believe the one watch raised $28,000. I think was the first one that went, and then the other two on auctions unfortunately got postponed because of what's happening that they were supposed to be in. So we'll see, but yeah, that was the first one that did that. So that's really
well, and I think it's super cool because not only does it show obviously you guys' efforts for the environment and whatnot, but also it really kind of shows y'all have been kind of pushing the boundaries a little bit the last year or two as far as materials and things like that. So before this, there wasn't a whole lot of solid gold offering from Oris. I know a while ago there was the Formula One gold watch that Oris had done, but then so seeing the solid gold was very surprising from Oris. But then to me I love that this idea of you guys still having your core collection and having, overall Oris is a very affordable option as far as higher end watches go. But then you have every now and then you just kind of branch out and do something different with the solid gold, or even with the ProPilot X from last year too, just branching out and showing the world that, we're a very consistent watch, at a really phenomenal price point, but we're still able to do some of this like really crazy and kind of out there stuff.
Yeah, and that's really the beauty of being independent, right? Like if we want to do it, we do it, kind of thing. It's just one of those things, and we have the ability. And that's a perfect example. You hit that right on the head in terms of the gold piece and being able to do that. And people are like, oh, there's always naysayers, right? People are like, oh, it's a
always
$19,000 Oris. Yeah, but understand what it's for, understand why it was made, the purpose behind it, and then evaluate your feelings about it. Like there's a purpose for everything, and we try to do things that are different, and just do the right thing. We always try to do the right thing, but also talking about the PPX, the caliber 115, you were saying, that too, that's a piece that's kind of on the boundaries for us. It was more like you said to the design team and the engineering team, if you guys could do anything you want, what would you do? And that's what they came up with. They came up with that piece. And is it going to be the mainstay of the Oris collection? No, but it certainly was something that was very well received. People saw that watch and saw kind of what it was, and were like, wow, or I should say they noticed Oris from that watch, people that had never seen us before, right? Because if watches and what that watch has and what it entails and the watchmaking that goes into that, then you appreciate the price point that it is, the $7,600 price point for what it was. But it was a great watch for the money. And again, we did it because we can do it, and we're watchmakers, and we have that pedigree and that history and that ability, and that's really what it was.
No, it's very cool. And again, it's one of those things that once you realize what goes into it, the price is definitely there. It's it's worth it. And it's so different in person. I feel like for everybody who talks about it, I really kind of recommend people try one on in person, because having it on the wrist was a little surprising versus just seeing pictures of it. You listened to the podcast, so it wasn't my cup of tea, originally. But having it on the wrist, it definitely, you have a respect for it, which I think is really neat. And again, I love that you put yourself out there. You guys tried something totally different, and it kind of worked. Yeah. But I think that it says a lot that you don't just kind of rest on your core collection, that you step outside the box and you do something a little different every now and then, which, to your point, is the perk of being an independent.
Thank you. Yeah. And I and it's always, everybody has their limitations and what they can do and what they can't. We have that sort of spirit that's embodied in the company, that sort of free thinking, independent spirit. And I think it's a great thing, and it keeps us all going. It keeps us all motivated. It allows us to do things. And it's great. And thank you very much for recognizing and appreciating those things.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, is that where your Go Your Own Way logo is? Because I'm assuming it's not based off of the Fleetwood Mac song. That's now stuck in my head now that I've said that. So if I start humming in the background, y'all, please ignore me.
No, it is not based on the Fleetwood Mac song. But yes, that's very much what it's about. The sort of the independence. It's going your way, having the ability and the freedom to go your own way. And it truly is a mindset, right? It's a free thinking mindset. It's the ability to be yourself, the ability to do those things. And really, when you look at our brand, we're not the brand that, you're going to hold your wrist up in a bar and be like, look at me, I'm wearing an Oris. It's like, we're not that blingy /
Who does that?
Who
does that?
Come to New York. There's plenty of people.
Oh my gosh.
No, but it's one of those things. Like we're not that brand. But you're confident in yourself. The person, we like to think of the people with Oris. They're confident in themselves. They know, like if you know, kind of thing. And we're one of those brands. And so it's people just going their own way, finding their own what they're doing and how they're doing it and that sort of thing. So very much about independence.
Very cool.
I remember when we were out in Burlingame, California, visiting Rob over at Toppers, did you try on the headset, the VR?
I did, yes. That was so cool.
You did? Okay, I was like, it was the coolest thing. I was like...
I'm sure I looked ridiculous.
I could
cool.
I could have kept that thing on for like an hour. Yeah. I was super impressed. I don't know why we don't have more of that. I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and that was something, very much like about being able to do things like that, like take those kind of, or be on the cusp of that stuff, push the envelope a little bit. But that's truly what that is. It's that experience was very good. A lot of people loved it. It's really cool being inside the caliber 115, right? Being able to see it, and and it was a great thing. And we had showed that in Basel, in a dark room. Like didn't even show the watch. Like it was like we put people in there. We took
come into our dark room.
We took the phones away. Like people couldn't have any, and they were like, "What is?" And people were like, "It was really funny."
Took their phones away and everything. Oh my
really,
gosh!
It was like,
did you pick them up in an unmarked white van too?
Down the stairs, So we had this. But it was interesting because people got to see it and they got to experience it, and I think that really once you experience that watch and once you kind of go through that without seeing the watch, you understand kind of what it's about. You understand, and it's in terms of what we're doing, you think about something like a VR experience in a retail jewelry store. It's something that nobody's doing. It's people are like, what is that? Or it just people look at it and are like, oh, what's going on in there? I have to go see what's going on in there, kind of thing. And I think that's very much what it is. So it was a good thing. And I think the 115 really, that whole rollout of that product, the launch of it, the VR stuff, I think it really was great. So it turned out to be really great. And the guys at Toppers, certainly Rob and Russ, really good people out there, and they've always been big supporters of Oris and the brand, and it's nice to see. I know you guys you had a good time with them out there.
Yeah.
Great time.
And I think it gives you a whole new appreciation for the watch and the caliber too. Getting to see it really up close, because these things are small. So I think that just bringing that experience to people is really cool at the end of the day.
Totally.
Well, so speaking of Basel World, obviously there's nothing going on for a while. So what's the plan for Oris? I know some brands are planning on just not introducing anything new this year. I hope that's not the case for you guys, because I'm obsessed with your watches. So what's the plan?
You won't be disappointed. Yes. We are gonna release things.
Okay.
And we have really good things to release too. So we're very excited about what's coming out. But it definitely changed the schedule a little bit, maybe a little bit here or there. But I think things are coming out. I think you'll be happy with what's coming out. But we'll have a pretty robust release schedule too of things. So
is it just going to be gradual then at that point, or are you planning on just kind of putting everything out at the same time?
It'll probably be mixed. It'll probably be over a period of time. You'll start seeing things pop up. But I think it'll be a really good. It'll be a good year for us. I think it'll be. I like to say a game-changing year for us. So
ooh.
Let's see.
I know. Our ears just perked
Right.
up.
Like, let's get you a drink and let's start talking more while we record.
Oh, I'm not supposed to have one? Wait.
I think that there are no rules anymore. What are you talking about? Like, there's just no rules.
It's true.
No, that's super awesome to hear, and it's exciting that to hear that you haven't just kind of given up on this year. I think that's the frustrating thing, is it seems like some of these brands are just, giving up and kind of moving on to next year. And, I think, especially considering what's going on in the world right now, it's kind of a highlight, honestly. Like, what few brands have been releasing stuff over the last couple of weeks, it's a nice escape.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of respect for brands that do that, because it's not easy to release stuff right now, knowing that, you don't have as much push behind it, you don't have as much hands on it, things like that. But yeah, I mean, it says a lot to the confidence that you have in what you're putting out, I think.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I know, and we want to bring it out just as much as you want to see it, right? Like, we like to show what we've been working on and what we've been doing. And yeah, I'm really, I'm really excited for this year's stuff. Like, I really am excited. I think it'll be a great year for us in that sense. Obviously, with what's going on in the world is going on in the world, and it's not, and don't ever want it to be insensitive that we're coming out with new things. Just more like, hey, as you said, it's a good distraction, right? It's something to look forward to. I think that's important.
You know who else is a good distraction right now?
I was just gonna say.
Oh, were you going to? I was trying to segue right on into it. I was gonna be real smooth.
I love it.
It's like the best thing I've had going on in a while. But so who else is a great distraction is Oris Bear. Oris Bear is making like a really solid comeback lately.
Yeah, he's quite a guy, that Oris Bear. Like,
So how did Oris Bear start, out of curiosity?
So the first Oris Bear, back in early 2000s, one of the artists that helped with create one of the Atelier collections or some stuff, he just made these bears like around it. And we always have these product worlds. We have aviation, we have diving, we have motorsports. So he made these little bears. One was a pilot, one was a watchmaker, one was a F1 driver, and then they made a big one, and they had this big bear. He was in a suit, and he was just sitting there. And he had sat in the factory for a long time. They didn't really do anything. So a few years ago at Basel, they decided just to pull him out and put him outside. They gave him a hashtag Oris Bear, and then he was just outside the Basel booth, and he just kind of took off from there. He just became this phenomenon within the world, in terms of people loved him. And when you think about brands and kind of what they have, and some people have mascots and some people have not mascots but celebrity ambassadors and things like that. We don't really do that sort of thing. So he's become our ambassador. And as Rolf Studer, our CEO, he likes to say, if people have a problem with a teddy bear, they really have problems, right? No, because he makes you happy, right? Like, you look at a teddy bear,
you smile.
Yeah, it makes you smile,
Yeah.
right? So the Oris Bear, certainly everybody's going through a tough time. Everybody has, we're in a very challenging time at the moment, and I think what's going on with the Oris Bear now certainly is something that just trying to bring some happiness to people, give you something to look forward to. People have kids or what have you, and they're home with them. Maybe it's something that they see and look at and can, that sort of thing. And that's kind of what's going on with him. But we've had him in different places. He's been, the Oris Bear has been in a lot of places. Like, I've personally traveled around with him a lot. Like,
he's been kidnapped too, right?
He's been kidnapped. He was kidnapped in Basel.
Bless his heart. Oh.
But we've taken him, like, I've taken him on the train. Like, so I took him on the commuter rail train into New York City, into Grand Central Station, like, running around with him. Pretty funny. It's very funny to watch people's reactions.
Yeah, imagine.
So, yeah. And
that's
you guys,
hilarious.
I think Josh and Vivi Shanks, right? You know them?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
yes.
We took the Oris Bear to their wedding because Vivi really liked him a lot. So we surprised her. We took the bear to the wedding one day. So He was there.
Probably going to be talking to them next week on the podcast. We'll have to ask them about that. That's too funny.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, ask them about that is right. That's a good question for them.
Yeah, man, the Oris Bear, he's killing Instagram right
now.
Yeah,
he is. He has his own Instagram page for anybody who doesn't know. He has his own social media.
That's right. At Oris Bear is his.
I was right about to look it up, so thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
One of us came prepared for this. So.
Yeah, well, I was like, is it the Oris Bear? Okay, it's at the.
I didn't know if there was an underscore or
Oris Bear.
Yeah, Oris Bear is he's really solid right now. I love his new Instagram and really talking about what's going on in the world right now and just not necessarily making light of it, but just making what's going on a little bit more laid back almost. Like, he talks about washing his hands and everything else. And I think today he's working out, if I remember. I think I saw him doing some yoga earlier today. So it's cute. It definitely gets people talking. And I think it's really awesome to see brands who are killing the social media game, honestly, but then who can be a little bit more laid back too. It's a very stuffy world, watches seem to be, but to see somebody have a little bit more fun and be more casual and laid back is great.
Thank you.
He's giving away watches, right?
He is, yeah. He's running a contest, not a contest, but really just to nominate some people that there's a lot of people that are doing really good things out there in a time of crisis. And I think he's running a contest to have people, be nominated to win a watch kind of thing, just your everyday sort of hero people, heroes that are doing things. So that's what he's doing.
That's really cool.
Just bring some community to it. Right. I mean, I think that's what it's all about. And, as you said, we try not to take ourselves too seriously. And I think that's, when you think about us in this general scheme, especially in the world now, we understand, we kind of know our place and what's happening, right?
No, that's awesome.
And he's really good. You got to meet him someday.
I hope to, for sure. If you come to Nashville, you have to bring Oris Bear.
Okay, I will do that.
Say no. We should bring him.
Take him to the honky tonk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's happening. We're gonna get Oris Bear custom made cowboy hat.
Stick a cowboy hat on him. Yeah,
right.
We are the same person. Why are there two of us anyway?
I don't know.
He's been to Vegas twice, just so you know.
What?
He's been to Vegas.
Well, Nashville's the new Vegas, so
he didn't get married, did he?
No, he did not. He did not.
Okay, good.
Yes, he's still single.
Still single, still ready, still available.
He is. So.
He's kind of cute. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh God.
No, I just think it's fun that you guys have take it much less seriously than most of the other brands out there. So it's awesome.
Yeah, we try, and I think he's. If you look, I'm trying to look if there's a picture of him from Las Vegas. There might be on his Instagram. He might have a picture.
I like that. I'm literally looking at a bear's Instagram.
Yeah, there is actually. There's a picture of there's a picture of him at a craps table, on his Instagram. So he spent some time. He's got a little bit of a gambling thing. So.
All right. Well, we don't have that in Nashville, so he's not gonna get that fixed here.
Yeah, I think he likes country music though.
Okay.
Oh,
So.
You do too, right? I think I've seen you listen to some country music on your Instagram.
I do. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, I love that.
Nashville just suits you guys.
Yeah. I love Nashville. It's a great place. It's a beautiful city and really a lot of fun there. Are you guys you've been there your whole lives?
Yeah, both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
One of or I guess two of 18 people who can say that these days.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, we actually, we recently discovered that we grew up a couple of streets away from each other and just never knew it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So
I think I heard you guys talking about that a little bit, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we talked about it on the podcast. I think we discovered it while we were recording a show, which is funny.
That sounds about right. Sorry, I was still I spaced out for a second because I'm still floored that you listen to our podcast. We didn't have to seek out Oris. It was crazy. So it's so humbling and amazing. And like I said, we've been fans of Oris watches for a very long time. So definitely very excited to have had this opportunity with you.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys. I mean, you guys are doing a great thing. I think, you're really doing a nice job for the watch community, and it's fun. It's laid back, very much enjoyable to listen to. So appreciate that. And I appreciate you having me.
Before we leave, so we've decided, this was actually Kat's idea, and I think this is a lot of fun. So we've decided to do like kind of a quick fire round Q&A, non-launch related, just 10 like super quick questions that you answer as fast as you can.
Okay.
Are you game? This
Sure.
is new. We've not done this, so I don't know how this is going to turn out.
Me either, but okay. Sure, why not?
So VJ, what is your favorite emoji?
My favorite emoji.
Or your most used emoji?
Probably the smiley face. Just straight up smiley face.
Straight up smile.
Classic.
Beach or mountains?
Oh, that's a tough one. Because I'm a skier and I like the beach. So I'd probably say beach at this moment.
Nice.
Everybody's over
at this moment. All right. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
What would it be? That's a good question. Maybe cure coronavirus at this moment.
I like that.
Very practical.
What did you want to be when you grew up, when you were a kid?
A doctor.
Okay.
My mother always told me to be a doctor.
Okay. Do what mom says.
Yeah, didn't turn out that way, but
Did not turn out that way. Is mom Is mom disappointed, or is she okay?
Yeah, she was fine. She was fine.
All right.
So, yeah.
All right. Beatles or Stones?
Stones.
Pizza or burgers?
Pizza.
Oh, that was a fast one. All right. If you could be reincarnated as any animal, what would it be? These are tough.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Probably a bird.
Okay.
Probably a bird. You can see a lot of things, get a different perspective on things, and see a lot of things.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
That's very deep. Man. Thank God nobody asked me these things. That'd be so
or the Oris bear, one of the two.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have what's your secret talent?
I can recite lyrics to songs, and I could guess the weight of a suitcase by just lifting it up.
Oh,
that's a very important talent.
Yeah,
Dang.
Especially when you're at the airport.
For those of you that know me, I don't travel lightly when I travel, so I'm always like right on the 50-pound mark. So I grab the knack of being able to tell how heavy my suitcase is.
That is awesome.
That's hilarious.
All right, and then favorite snack.
Favorite snack. That's good too. I eat a lot of crackers. I have a lot of I like crackers, like carbs like that. So I can't say.
I am very much so judging your snack choice right now, just so you know. Of all the things, you're quarantined in your house with a box of crackers.
Exactly, like a lot of them, right?
All right, and then last one. What's the first place you're going after stay-at-home is lifted?
That's a good question. Probably to see my dad, actually.
Aww.
Oh, that is nice.
I love it. Awesome. Well, this was fun.
It was fun. Thank you.
Yeah,
that was great. So,
well, thank you for coming on the podcast. Everybody can make sure that they're following along on Oris's website, Oris's Instagram, and then make sure you're following Oris Bear. And then all the show notes will be on our website, which is www.10and2.com. We'll have links to everything as well. Obviously, make sure you're following us around Instagram and Facebook at 10and2 Media. And that's it.
Absolutely.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you, Lizzie.
Thank you so much, VJ.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.